From the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, let's meet the competitors in the Slam Dunk Championship.
Philadelphia 76ers, Clarence Weatherspoon. This high-flying rookie dazzles USC fans throughout his college career. Drafted in the first round by the Miami Heat, he provides instant excitement off the bench. Harold Miner. The 6'1" point guard averaged 30 points per game as a freshman at LSU, now in his third NBA season. He leads his team in both scoring and assists from the Denver Nuggets, Chris Jackson. This young forward has shot better than 50% in each of his 5 NBA seasons. His dunks provide the exclamation point for his team's fast-paced attack from the Philadelphia 76ers, Tim Perry. This point guard is the first player ever to compete in the AT&T Long Distance Shootout and the Gatorade Slam Dunk Championship in the same night. He finished second in the 1990 Slam Dunk Championship from the Houston Rockets, Kenny Smith. One of the most exciting young players on the Utah Jazz. His contributions off the bench have helped the Jazz contend for first place in the Midwest Division, and his dunks are legendary in Utah and all around the NBA. David Benoit. Blindfolded Hocus Pocus dunk that made him the 1992 Gatorade Slam Dunk champion. Tonight, he'll try to become only the second player ever to win back-to-back Slam Dunk titles from the Phoenix Suns, Cedric Ceballos. And then, unfortunately, withdrawn due to an injury from the Seattle Supersonics, Shawn Kemp. Ladies and gentlemen, the participants in the 1993 Gatorade Slam Dunk Championship.
There are the competitors. We've had some changes in the rules this year, so let's get them straight for you. First of all, from 3 to 2 rounds, 3 dunks each round, and the best 2 dunks will count toward the player's point total. The top 3 in the first round advance to the finals. So we start with 7, end up with 3. Each round will be scored separately. There are 5 judges. Each judge scores the dunk on a 1 to 10 basis, and that is in divisions of tenths of points. Our judges, well, they know what they're talking about. Irving, Hawkins, Carr, Hudson, Roundfield. There's Carr, Connie Hawkins, Sweet Lou Hudson, Danny Roundfield, and the doctor, Julius Irving. The prize money, $20,000, total of $42,000. But what's at stake here is pride. A sign in the stands at the Delta Center said, "I jam, therefore I am," which will tell you where that all stands. And all of the NBA All-Stars, virtually every one of them, are lined up courtside over by Charles Barkley and Isaiah Thomas. Here is the order determined by draw in the first round. Cedric Ceballos, the defending champion, will go first. Clarence Weatherspoon, QB's pick because of the power, will go last. Cedric Ceballos, last year with the blindfold dunk.
I'm not giving him a score on that.
You know, it'll be interesting to see what dunk he picks, but judges are notoriously tough on the guys when they're first dunk. So I would come out with something relatively easy and then save my two better dunks.
And the miss. Now, you get scored even on misses. It does not have to go through the hoop to draw a score. Theoretically, you could get a 50 by missing, but of course that wouldn't happen, but theoretically you can. So that was dunk number 1.
Now the difference is last year you get a replacement dunk for a miss. You do not get one this year, so that should be a miss.
Absolutely.
And he'll get 2 more dunks, but he does not get a chance to replace that one.
Cedric Ceballos is now being informed of the change in the rules.
Yeah,
so he did not hit his first one, but he will get a score of some sort from the judges.
You can see it looks like he kind of slips underneath on his elevation right before he took off. It looked like he did not get a good plant of that foot. And the old story like last year, they gave him 22 here. He's saying last year there were so many guys who were two-foot jumpers. They would come to the stop and get up. Whereas in past years, the greatest slam dunk guys have been guys who would take off on the one, wouldn't cover a lot of ground.
Exactly. The crowd coming to their feet here for David Benoit. Plays about 20 minutes a game for the Utah Jazz, and I've seen him with some fancy slam dunking in competition. So let's see how he does with his adrenaline up here. 3 dunks for each competitor in the first round. All 7 dunk and then the others. Crowd loved it. Charles, Isaiah, what'd you think of that one?
Well, it definitely was sweet. The crowd liked it. You're getting the hometown favorite. But I want to wait and see what the judges think. They're really tough on him. As you can see, he goes up here and he gives us a simple reverse. I want to see how Julius and the rest of the guys score.
Hey, Charles, he used to do that against Auburn a lot, didn't he?
No, we owned Alabama when I was in college. He's a little after my time, though, Doug.
Well, let's hear you give him an impartial critique.
Oh, he went to Alabama. I can't be impartial.
And
it was all right.
what do you take that to the grave, John?
Hey, Alabama, Auburn, you take that to the grave.
The judges have awarded David Benoit a score of 41.5. Now remember, 3 dunks in the first round for each competitor, and only the top 2 dunk scores count. And Kenny Smith, who competed in the 3-point shootout, the first player ever to compete in 2 events here. Charles Barkley could do that if we could get him to do it. He could go into the 3-point and the slam dunk. Oh, Kenny Smith surprised us a couple of years ago, and he may be on that track again.
Great explosive jump and the good timing off the bounce by Kenny Smith. When you do this kind of dunk, you have to be able to get the ball at its height, and Kenny does a great job, and then the beautiful 360 in the air. This is great body control.
Well, you're going to see it. He does the 360, and it's beautiful catch, and he had power.
Yep.
And the big thing with the power is it must be clean.
Yes.
I tell you, the players loved it. The players were lined up over there.
Remember, the judges are tough early.
And a 46.5 the score for Kenny Smith. Not bad. And the next competitor now is going to be Chris Jackson, who's never dunked in the pros, but did dunk a couple of times down at LSU. How about this? Has never dunked in an NBA game, but here's what it looks like if he did dunk from the days at Louisiana State University. Chris Jackson. Well, he can get up there. And another one. Chris Jackson is only 6'1". Remember Spud Webb in '86 at 5'7", defeated Dominique Wilkins.
I tell you, the first thing that stands out to me about Chris Jackson, this is the first time I've seen him this year, how thin he is. I mean, he has lost a ton of weight.
The bounce and the two-handed jam from Chris Jackson. Not pleased with the effort himself.
You know, in the papers today, he said that he was going to try to make his first one a very simple one and see how the referees, you know, judge it.
Again, the bounce dunk and the timing. Chris Jackson with the 2-hand dunk. I think, again, the important thing is to make that first dunk.
With Dr. J anchoring this group, they're really tough on you,
Yeah.
and especially in the first round.
Isaiah Thomas, you're a guard about his size. What do you think of this effort?
Well, I think what you see the smaller guys are trying to do, they're trying to use the Spud Webb technique and get the floor bounce in terms of using the basketball. And the judges have seen that a lot, and they're looking for more creativity. They're looking for newer things. And I think the smaller guys are being penalized for that now.
Remember, Spud Webb, of course, did that to get the victory way back in '86. But as you said, they've been seeing that for about 8 years. So right here are the standings in the first round, first dunk. Smith with the best score so far at 46.5, followed by Benoit Jackson and Cedric Ceballos, who actually missed his dunk. And next up, Harold Miner.
Hey, Charles, remember last year, no one scored a high mark using the bounce.
Well, I think the main thing is that dunk really makes a dunk easier when you bounce it, because you can use your talent really doesn't matter as much. It's a lot more talented to dunk with the ball in your hand than it is off the floor or off the glass.
Harold Miner, the rookie from Miami.
Call.
That's the most exciting dunk we've seen in 2 years.
That's right. He brought that one from his toes.
All right, let's listen to this now. Let's just watch and listen to Harold Miner.
Watch how far he brings it down.
Charles Barkley, Isaiah Thomas, what about some comments?
Well, let me say something. The reason all these guys jumped up because I got money bet with them, and they got Harold Miner, and I got Teddy Sabalo.
As you can see how high he jumps. He clutches, he gives a little Michael Jordan between his legs, hangs on the rim. You can't do that.
And a 49 for Harold Miner. That's the highest score in 2 years and well deserved.
Bob, you know it's a great dunk when you see that line of all-stars sitting on the bench beside Isaiah and Charles. You got Scottie Pippen and the rest of the all-stars. When they get up off their feet, you know you've had an exciting dunk.
Tim Perry had 124 dunks all total last year in the NBA. There's Tim Perry's dunk following Harold Miner. Not going to get a really great grade probably, as you saw what was held up there by Clyde Drexler. Isaiah?
As you can see, there's really no creativity, there's no excitement to his dunk, and the fan is really dunk because he doesn't seem to be excited about it. Now, if he would hang on the rim and do a little bit more, it's a very difficult dunk what he just did, but he didn't put enough style in it, and I think the judges are going to, not give him enough points because he didn't put enough style into his dunk.
You can see that you're exactly right, a 38.5. And now, Hubie, you liked Clarence Weatherspoon. He's going to be next as we look at the standings. Harold Miner with the 49. By the way, Ceballos did get a 50 on his dunk last year, but that was after the competition was basically wrapped up. Here's Weatherspoon, power dunker. Reminds me of a young Charles Barkley.
Well, he's carrying some weight. That's all right.
Now, he did not make an attempt to jam, so as I understand, Clarence Weatherspoon will have another opportunity here. It won't be a replacement. He'll get another opportunity. So that doesn't count. He'll get a chance to do it again. Now, remember, Ceballos did not get to do it because he actually tried to jam it through the hoop.
This year, you must make an attempt on the rim. Come on now, not bad. Not bad. Now, he got a few 10s over there from the players.
The Shaq gave him a 10.
He brought that one.
All right, let's listen to it.
That was a great dunk. I think the people just don't know who Clarence Weatherspoon is, but watch this. I mean, that's a serious dunk with power.
Charles Barkley, I just said he reminds me of a young Charles Barkley. What do you think of this?
Well, first of all, he doesn't look as good as I do over there. But I tell you what, he's got explosive jumping ability, and people compare him a lot to me, and I could never jump like that.
From the Skycam. And a 43-2 is the score for Clarence Weatherspoon.
Isaiah, what do you think of that? That's a pretty low score for that dunk.
Well, it's a low score, but I think what the judges are really looking for are style points, and it's a very difficult dunk. It's a dunk that Jordan tried, brought out in Indianapolis and in Chicago. It's a very difficult dunk to do, but Jordan added a little bit more flair, a little bit more style, and the judges are really looking for style, and right now the only guy who's supplied that is Harold Miner.
Well said, and Harold Miner leads with 49 points, Smith with 46.5, and Weatherspoon with 43.2. This first round involves 3 dunks, and the top 2 scores are added to select the top 3 who will advance to the final round. So even though Ceballos only got a 22.5, if his second and third dunks are better, he still has the opportunity to win this competition.
Well, the pressure's on him right now because he's already had his one blown dunk. So he's got to have 2 serious dunks here now to put himself in a position to advance to the finals.
Thunder Dan Marley looking on as his teammate competes in the slam dunk competition. Well, didn't get much of a rise out of the crowd. Again, the style missing. The judges have been tough.
Zeke, what do you think? Lack of elevation hurt that dunk?
puts not enough style into it. It's a very difficult dunk to do, but he's not putting enough style into his dunks. And the players got to realize right now that that's what the judges are really looking for, because all those guys sitting over there can dunk, so they're looking more for style and creativity, and you got to be able to supply that and put the energy into your dunk.
All right. Hey, Charles,
Yes.
we talk about style, but what do you mean by style?
Well, they want to see something fancy. Like you said, all these guys can dunk, but they want to get a rise out of the fans and a rise out of themselves. I mean, anybody can dunk the ball, but they want to see something spectacular.
They want to see guys hanging on the rim, like Harold Miner to hang on the rim, or like Kenny Smith tapping the backboard. They're looking for more style and creativity as opposed to just a straight dunk.
David Benoit from the Utah Jazz, a crowd favorite. That's big. Two-handed windmill. Wonder what the mailman thought of that. Charles Barkley, your comments.
Well, he definitely gets them home cooking. I got to see how the judges go react to all this crowd noise.
Hey, David Robinson and Olajuwon both gave him a 10.
Remember, Connie Hawkins and Julius Erving are two of the 5 judges.
Yeah. See, you know what? You really don't appreciate these dunks until you see them in slow motion. I mean, you can't see the guy hits the ball on his feet, he takes it up, he spins, he hangs on the rim. You can't see that. It's so fast.
A modest 44.3 for David Benoit.
Guys, you can already see right now the handwriting is going to be Benoit, Kenny Smith, and Harold Miner. They're the ones that's capturing the crowd right now. It's what Isaiah and Charles talked about. They're the ones that right now are making the excitement in this competition.
Top 3 will advance. Kenny Smith right now in second place. It's Miner, Smith, and Weatherspoon after the first round.
Now he's got this one. He bounces between his legs off the backboard. This one's going to go over his head.
He had to grab the rim in order to stay up long enough to grab the errant ball. I'll tell you, it was a mistake, but it was pretty spectacular.
Zeke?
As excited about the dunk as he should be. I mean, he's got to give a little bit more enthusiasm and be a little bit more enthused about what he's doing out there in order to convince the judges. You got to sell. You got to be able to sell the judges.
A 38.5 on that dunk to go with his 46.5. Now remember, 3 dunks in the first round, and the lowest scored dunk will be tossed out. Next up, little, by NBA standards, Chris Jackson.
Let's see if he's got the nervousness out. The first dunk, he just wanted to get down. Let's see if he gets a little bit more exciting with this one.
And the miss. Of course, that'll cost him, but he'll still draw some points from the 5 judges. Isaiah Thomas, what do you think here?
I think Chris is a little nervous, and I think what has happened to Chris Jackson by being a small guy, he got a good warm-up, and he was warmed up real good, and by sitting, I think that's affected his jumping ability because he's not as tall as the other guys, so he doesn't have the type of spring that they do. So I think it's affected his jumping ability.
And he got a very low score on that, 26. So Chris Jackson in trouble in terms of advancing from this 7 to the final 3. Sean Kemp, a late scratch. He had been one of the favorites, certainly in this competition. He injured his thumb. Sean Elliott, sitting beside him, also was eliminated because of sore knee. Harold Miner, he electrified the crowd, got a 49. The guard from Miami. Let's watch him. Big power on that, Charles Barkley. What do you think?
Well, it wasn't a very hard dunk, but it showed tremendous power. That's a very powerful young man right there.
And he hangs on the rim, gives it a little style. And he's figured out what the judges want. The judges want style, and the fans have fell in love with him right now. And look at it. Oh, my God.
That angle really shows.
Look at that.
A 45-8 and a good score on that dunk. So a 49 and a 45-8 will keep Harold Miner in the lead here. Harold Miner remains in the lead. Tim Perry, who had an unenthusiastic dunk his first time out, is next up. Perry had a 38.5 on the first one. A late entrant here after Sean Kemp was scratched because of his sore thumb. But wait a minute, he's going to start way back on the runway.
Well, when you do this in front of Julius Erving and you're going to do the runway, he started this, so you better do a good one.
At an ABA All-Star game, as a matter of fact, we saw that.
Yeah, but he used to do it in the regular season 3 times a night.
Not bad, but I doubt that it will impress the doctor. Tim Perry.
You know, when you think about the standards that have been set in this competition before, I mean, you imagine coming out here and trying to excite this crowd with all the dunks that have been made in the past.
Well, we saw Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan in Chicago from 1988. Close, but not quite. 22 will be the score for Tim Perry. And next up will be Clarence Weatherspoon. Any predictions on what Weatherspoon might try to do something here? Isaiah, Charles, what do you think about Weatherspoon?
Well, I'm going to let Charles defer to Weatherspoon because that's his protege.
I'll tell you what, he was very impressive the first dunk. He got great legs and great power, big butt. That's going to help him jump even higher. I'm looking forward to it.
Big lob. Oh! Okay, Charles Barkley, what do you think?
I tell you what, that dunk is going to look even better in slow motion because he almost hit the rim. I mean, he can get up. I mean, it's going to look better in slow motion.
Here it is in slow-mo, Charles.
Oh.
Okay, let's look at it again, and this time we're going to listen to it. And a modest score of 44.3. Gentlemen, do you think that's too low a score, Isaiah?
Well, again, the bounce is hurting the guys. The judges are tired of seeing that. It was a spectacular dunk, but he needed a little bit more style. If he would have hung on the rim and did a little bit more other things with it, you got to be able to sell the judges. And right now, these guys aren't selling the judges. As when Jordan did or when Dominique did, they would make their dunks so spectacular. Even before they dunked, you anticipated what they were getting ready to do. And right now, they're just walking up there dunking. And you got to be able to sell these guys.
Yeah,
right now, they're not selling.
Reminiscent of Dee Brown a couple of years ago when he won, also selling his dunk. Harold Miner way out in front. The top 3 will advance after the first round. Coming up from the Delta Center, the final dunk in the first round right now. Here's Craig Sager.
Well, Bob, Kenny Smith has been bouncing the ball not only out of creativity but necessity. He cannot palm a basketball, not even this one, which is a Spalding Ultimate Indoor ball, the official ball of the CBA with a better grip. This is the normal NBA ball. As you can see, it's not as easy to palm. But that's why Kenny Smith is having to bounce the ball, because he cannot just hold it and jam it through.
All right, Craig. Good demonstration there of not being able to palm the ball. Cedric Ceballos, who is the defending champion. Remember, they get to throw out the lowest score of the 3 dunks. So Cedric Ceballos, if he were to get as much as a 50, could have a 92.3 if he throws out that third. So keep that in mind, that you can see that Cedric Ceballos, the defending champion, has Thunder Dan Marley a little nervous. Charles Barkley, what do you think about your teammate here?
Well, I'll tell you what, he got me more nervous than he did Dan Marley. But it's going to take something really spectacular to get him into the next round.
Well, 2 balls.
Well, the pressure's on him.
Well, he got them both. Didn't look like it impressed Thunder Dan very much. How about you, Charles?
Well, he's my teammate. He's always impressive to me.
Again, it's a very difficult dunk, and not many players in the NBA can do this. But the judges have seen it before. Doc has seen it before. Connie Hawkins invented it probably. And you got to be able to sell it. And the fans are not even buying it. You got to be able to get the fans involved. This is the most exciting event of the night, and the guys got to be able to get the fans involved, and right now the fans aren't involved.
Isaiah, there's been so much happen with the dunk over the years. There's been so many spectacular dunks. What can a player do? I would run out of ideas.
Well, you got to build up to the anticipation. You got to make the crowd want to see you dunk. Like right now, they can't wait to see Harold Miner dunk again. And he has the crowd right now, and you got to build up that excitement and that anticipation, and no matter what dunk you do, they're going to buy it. You got to be able to sell it.
David Benoit. Well, he went for it on that one. Benoit had a 41.5 and a 44.3, so he's right on the cusp.
See, but Sabalas moved ahead of Benoit, so Benoit slips down to 4th, Sabalas up to 3rd. So this is a big miss for him. This takes him out of the finals at this point.
Let's see what they give him. You can get high credit for a miss, but so far they haven't been giving it.
I would be real surprised if they gave him that much of a miss. 28.5.
Exactly, and his total of 85.8.
So as it stands right now, Harold Miner is 1st, Weatherspoon is 2nd, then Sabalas moves into 3rd, so he snuck in there for Charles. Charles, your man might be alive.
I tell you what, Doug, I need it bad.
Yeah, I know you do.
Hey, between my betting and Bill Clinton, I might be broke again.
Don't bet your jacket. Kenny Smith. And Smith misses.
As you can see, that the fans.
That's right. The same thing happened last year. Here's the Skycam angle. Kenny Smith there with the miss.
I know, I had it right there.
Kenny Smith with a 26.5 on his 3rd dunk and a total of 85 in the 1st round. Tonight, after All-Star Saturday Night, TNT, in association with Steven Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment, presents a TNT ScreenWorks premiere, Heart of Justice, the torrid tale of a New York reporter investigating a twisted high society murder. Heart of Justice premieres tonight at 10 Eastern, only on TNT. Chris Jackson with a 38 and a 26. Not much hope for it. Impressive, but once again the bounce to help with the elevation and the reverse two-handed jam. Hardly a rise from the crowd. Or the judges, you see them leaning back over there. Here it is.
They're going to get excited. Harold Miner's getting ready to dunk again, so now you're going to feel the excitement. The first dunk in many instances sets the tone for the rest of the night for a guy like Harold Miner. He came out with a great dunk. We see Chris Jackson here, and this is a great dunk.
42.8 for a total of 80. That'll eliminate Chris Jackson from advancing. 3 advance to the championship round. A change in the rules this year. They start with 7 and 3 advance to the finals. And now Harold Miner, who had a 49 on his first dunk and a 45.8 on the second one. The crowd loved him. Let's see what he comes up with. Number 3. Remember, the best 2 of these 3 scores are totaled for the total. Maybe the weakest of his 3s. They've been spectacular. The first one was unbelievable. The second one, a power dunk. Isaiah, what do you think?
The right idea in mind. He's trying to get the crowd into it. I don't know if the judge is going to buy the bounce, but if you can run it all the way back before he even went to dunk, he walked over and he shook Connie Hawkins' hand and gave him 5. So he's trying to get the judges on his side.
He must have heard you.
Does that count as style or creativity?
A little bit of both.
The left-handed jam from Harold Miner. And he had a 45.8. That's exactly the same. So his total will be 94.8. And that keeps Harold Miner at number 1. The top 3 advance. Minor, Weatherspoon, Ceballos at this point. Tim Perry, who has only 60.5. Perry would need a 48.9 to tie Ceballos for third.
I'm in agreement, though, with Isaiah and Charles. I think Tim Perry has to show some excitement here. He's dunking very stoically, and he needs to get excited to get the crowd excited about this dunk.
Off the blast. Now, he did not attempt to jam it. The judges are going to let him try that again, probably. He tried to bounce it off the glass.
Come on, you got one more time, Terry.
You know, it was like that ball did not bounce. You know, it might. And I think that he might be questioning the ball here. Maybe, I don't know.
I think Tim Perry, I think he said he didn't even want a replacement dunk. I guess he is going to go again. It looks like he said, oh, that's okay, but now he's coming back. But maybe the ball did not bounce well.
He's been short in his 2 previous dunks, usually in his takeoff or in the extension of his arms to make the shot.
I think he's a little nervous. He looks like he's a little nervous, and he's trying to hold it in. And in doing so, he's being very stoic.
And not happy with that attempt, Tim Perry. He needed a 48.9 to move past Cedric Ceballos in third place. There you see one of the fans holding up about a 6 there. And now, with this Tim Perry dunk that hit the edge of the rim, Minor, Weatherspoon, and Ceballos are going to advance to the finals as of right now. Weatherspoon will have this third dunk, but won't even need it in order to advance. And a discussion with the officials and the judges. Here are the standings. Minor, Weatherspoon, Ceballos. Now, Weatherspoon does get the third dunk here, but there's not really any point to it because you don't carry your total forward.
He should waive it. The only thing he's going to do now by making this dunk is he's going to have one less to go into the finals with.
That's right.
So he should save something.
I agree with you.
Well, he did. Let's see if he tries that again. Again, no attempt made to jam, so he'll get the opportunity over if he wants it.
So why not save this to the finals, though? I mean, he's going to have to try to come up with 3 more dunks in the next round.
As you can see, the coaches here, maybe these guys need coaches. Charles, Isaiah, maybe these guys each need to bring a coach with them.
Well, in the past, the guys who have won the slam dunk, Julius and Michael Jordan, Dominique, those guys, they did come into the slam dunk competition with a plan.
Yeah,
they did not just go out there and randomly dunk. They had the dunk systematically planned, and therefore they didn't have as much confusion when they went to attempt their next dunk. They knew exactly what they were going to do.
So here's Weatherspoon's final dunk here, but remember, he's already guaranteed of advancing along with Minor and Ceballos into the championship round. As we look back over a decade of slam dunk contests, which ones would we consider to be the most memorable? The majority of us cannot comprehend the incredible athletic feats before our eyes, but for the NBA players, our dreams become their realities. When the PA announcer announced the 3 who advanced, Minor, Weatherspoon, and Ceballos, it meant David Benoit, the hometown favorite, didn't, and there was a boo that came up from the crowd. But Harold, Minor, Weatherspoon, and Ceballos will now go to the final round. They'll each have 3 dunks, just like in the first, with the top 2 scores counting, and Craig Sagers with our judges.
Before there was Jordan, before there was Wilkins, there was Connie Hawkins and Julius Erving. And guys, you're having a lot of fun, but what are you looking for in these dunks?
Well, for me, I'm looking for somebody that's being creative, and so far they haven't been real creative so far.
Hey, I think they need to spike it. I think they need to have some charisma. They need to obviously execute and show some degree of talent. They need to get the crowd involved. And on those timing dunks, it's necessary that you nail it. You catch it in the right spot and that you nail it. I'm looking for the spike.
Charles Barkley had a good point. Some of these are better on replay. You guys don't have a monitor to see.
Well, we're watching at the beginning on the replay. I think you're seeing the same thing, but the guys are not really being that creative.
Okay, Let's go to the final round, Bob.
Cedric Ceballos will dunk first in the final round, the defending champion. He was third. It'll go third, second, first. It'll be Ceballos, Witherspoon, and Minor. Let's see if Cedric Ceballos can get this crowd into this. Charles Barkley, your teammate Ceballos. What do you anticipate?
Well, I think right now he's got to get off to a good start to put pressure on the other two guys. You know, I don't know what Cedric's going to do, but I'd break out that blindfold if I was him.
Good idea. Ceballos misses on his first attempt.
That's exactly what happened the first time, too. He put himself in a hole. Now he's got to nail the last two. Remember the first round, what was it? He had a 22.5 his first dunk, so he's done the same thing here in the finals. Looks like he just doesn't get the lift. He gets up there timing off a little bit, brings it down, and just doesn't get enough lift to finish it.
A tough catch. The position of the ball is not where he really wanted it to be.
Yeah, I was on the side.
What do you think, Zeke?
As Julius says, the thing that they're looking for is style and charisma. They want the guys to get a little bit more excited about what they're doing and have a little bit more creativity. And you're seeing the same dunks over and over again. And I think the judges are really being hard because they understand the talent that the guys have, and they want them to expand on the talent. But then there's another thing. They want these guys to be personalities, and they're really not the personality type of guys who have the charisma that carries the lead.
We may have to draft Charles Barkley back into this event. Be ready, Charles. Here is Clarence Weatherspoon.
Now that's coming from out of bounds. All right, sending it home. I like that one. Came from behind the board.
We'll listen to the sounds of this one. Clarence Weatherspoon. Charles Barkley, your comments.
This guy's got great jumping ability, has some serious power in his dunks. That's a pretty rare thing to have, power and jumping ability. That's a great dunk.
And a pretty good score. The judges are being tough. A 44-7. Weatherspoon says, what do I have to do?
You have to reach into your bag. That's what you have to do tonight.
Dr. J made it very clear that they had to see creativity, innovation, and talent. Here is Harold Miner. He's the man who's gotten the biggest rise out of this crowd thus far.
But you know, Yumi made a point a while ago. None of these guys are 1-foot jumpers. They're all 2-foot jumpers, so they don't take up a lot of space. They don't take off and finish, reach out from a distance and do a lot of things. Everything is power off 2 feet, so it's very difficult to be real creative when you jump off 2 feet.
Harold Miner, his first dunk of the night was a score of 49 out of a possible 50.
You're shortening the area.
We'll try that again. Harold Miner, the rookie guard from the Miami Heat.
See, he's got some big hands. He can do some stuff in the air with that ball. He could really wave that thing around. That was what Michael could do. He could wave that ball, he and Julius.
He changed his mind.
Yes.
That's big.
Now, that's the same one he did in the first round, wasn't it? Isn't it the exact same one?
Yes. Dr. J has a long memory.
Charles, you're staring, Charles. You're staring.
Well, I think, you know what happens? You're right. If you do the same dunk twice, he's not going to get as good a score as he did the first time.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I may tend to disagree with you because he has the fans in the palm of his hands right now, and they were really excited about it. And he got them anticipating his dunk. He took his time. He walked up, and the judges may buy it.
And I think they did. They're going to give him a 47, which is the second highest score to the night, second only to his 49 the first time he tried that. So Harold Miner continues in the dunker's seat here. 47, 44, 47. Remember, 3 dunks here. The top 2 scores count for the championship. A reminder tonight after All-Star Saturday night, TNT presents a ScreenWorks premiere, Heart of Justice, the torrid tale of a New York reporter investigating a twisted high society murder, starring Dennis Hopper. Defending champion.
There you go. There's a 1-foot takeoff, and he carried a little distance, was able to do some stuff in the air with it.
Good point, Doug Collins. At the peak of your career, injuries aside, I think you could have done this.
I could dunk a donut and coffee.
Zeke, what do you think?
I think he'll score well on this dunk because, first of all, he goes after it. He's excited about it. At the finish, he gives a little bit of extra to it, and he's enthused about his dunk, and I think the judges will reward him for that.
That's a good dunk. That's an excellent dunk.
Not a great score, 42.3. And Ceballos not happy with that score. And his first one, remember, he missed. So that'll be thrown out. So now Ceballos is going to have to count on a very high score for his third dunk in order to advance. And here comes the power dunker, Clarence Weatherspoon.
Yeah, remember we said you're going to use power. You can't hit the rim, and he caught the rim.
A bad bounce, but Clarence will get an opportunity to do that again. Clyde the Glide from the Doctors of Dunk.
See, now he's going to go away from that dunk and do another one now. So it's like, instead of trying to repeat that, well, maybe
he's coming back.
Oh, he's just,
yeah.
It's like putting in golf, right?
That's the longest bounce off a missed dunk in history. That bounced all the way out to half court, but did not go down. I said Clyde the Glide, Doctors of Dunk. That was back in the days of Louisville with Darrell Griffith. Clyde the Glide, what was it? Phi Slamma Jamma at Houston, as we all recall. What do you think of this, Charles?
Well, he got up under there a little bit too far. But I tell you, his head's up at that rim. He just glided in a little bit too far.
And a 27.5. Almost, but no cigar for Clarence Weatherspoon. Remember, the low score can be thrown out.
See, Harold Miner's in the driver's seat right now. You've got Weatherspoon's got a 27.5. You've got Ceballos has got a low score, 22 or whatever it was, is 24.5. So he's got a dunk to play with. He can really be creative here and still have one to go. So he is right now in the driver's seat to win this.
Oh, very big left-handed windmill jam from Miner. Isaiah Thomas.
Unbelievable. I mean, spectacular. Fans love him. He goes in, he gives the windmill, one hand, good dunk. It's hard. And watch him at the end. See how he gives the style. Watch how he plays to the judges, and he's a bad boy. Oh, he's just a bad boy.
I tell you what, this young fella is awesome.
A 48 for Harold Miner. And that's probably right. The fat lady has sung. You can just about wrap this up and take it on home. Engrave his name on the trophy. Harold Miner with a cumulative 95.
Well, a 50 would give Weatherspoon 94.7, and a 50 would give Ceballos 92.3. So these guys now are battling for second and third.
Exactly right. Harold Miner, you can start engraving the trophy. You mentioned bad boys, Isaiah Thomas. He'd fit nicely in the three-guard rotation, wouldn't he, in Motown?
No, I think he'll be in the 1 or 2 guard rotation. I may have to go sit down.
Not yet. There's the winner, Harold Miner. Ceballos and Weatherspoon dunking for second place. It's a difference between $10,000 and $5,500 and $7,500. Not going to get much out of that for Cedric Ceballos, last year's winner. Charles Barkley, you were right. He should have brought out the blindfold.
See, I don't think you can use that though this year, Charles. I don't think they're allowed in props, right? So is a blindfold a prop?
Well, I tell you what, I don't know if there's anything he could have done. Harold Miner deserves to be the slam dunk champion this year.
But don't you guys think that he set the tone with his first dunk? The first dunk, he got the crowd behind him in the competition tonight.
Yeah, he got the crowd the first time he dunked. And I think what has helped Harold also is that he seems to be the only one who's had a game plan in terms of the dunks that he was going to do and what he was going to try. He didn't necessarily walk out there and kind of think what I'm going to do. He knew exactly what he was going to do.
37.5 on the Ceballos dunk, and now Weatherspoon for his final. These guys are dunking for second place. Good power dunk from Clarence Weatherspoon. And that was a mad dunk. You might call that an angry dunk from Clarence. Now, Harold Miner doesn't even need this dunk. He's already wrapped it up. So this is just going to be an exhibition dunk from Harold Miner, who's already won the championship. Last year when Ceballos had already clinched it, he went to the blindfold. Get ready to look at Harold Miner on some big-time commercials over the next 12 months. Miner is finer at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City.